today's video, I'm gonna turn myself into a clone. Wait a minute here. That was actually my digital clone talking. Did you think that was me? It's pretty convincing. So I've noticed this trend where I've seen some creators create clone avatar versions of themselves that can fill in for them when they go on vacation. Meaning that they can create a living, breathing version of themselves where you can literally just type in text and the technology replicates their clone and image. It's pretty crazy. And not surprisingly, there's been a lot of pushback and negative comments. So the idea of cloning yourself as a creator, the concept of that is attractive because of creator burnout. If you're publishing videos every week and you want to take a vacation, sometimes you cannot do that. So the idea of it is attractive, but the actual implementation of it is something that we don't want to do because it defeats the whole point, right? We want to sit here, we want to connect with our audience, and having a clone sit in to do that, it defeats the whole point. I'd rather the creators that I love and adore to take a break and not post than have a clone version of them sit in for them when they're on vacation. I mean, a future of all of us sitting down on our phones, scrolling through YouTube and watching cloned versions of our favorite YouTubers and creators is a bleak future. And it's definitely one that I and many creators do not want to be a part of. But from a video editing perspective, it's actually kind of useful. Hear me out. Let's say that I say something wrong in a video. And a vertical aspect ratio is 16:9. No, it's not. It's 9:16, but I didn't record that. A clone can say that if you type it in and correct it, or you're recording and your microphone peaks too loud. Like for example, like this. But with this technology, the editor can fix this simply by typing in some new text and my clone can say it correctly at the right sound level. They didn't need to contact me, I didn't need to go into the studio and re-record. I mean, it definitely opens up a lot of possibilities when it comes to editing, but of course not doing the whole video. The clone is limited by what I'm wearing, but of course, you can make a whole wardrobe of clones inside your dashboard. But again, a limitation here is the cost because it's not cheap. So you might be like, Gal, it's pretty obvious that it's your clone. It's not quite there yet. But what if I told you that part of this introduction used my clone and in previous videos, a clone was used and you didn't notice? It's pretty wild. Let's take a closer look. This video was sponsored by Envato Elements. Later in this video, I'll show you how to use their new AI search to find fast stock footage and music. If you want my full guide on how to master AI video from not only cloning yourself, but speeding up your workflow with the help of AI, generating color grades, for example, doing rotoscoping, and much more, you can sign up for my course Waitlist by going to premiergal.com/AI. Now, I didn't create my clone from scratch. I did work with a company to help create it, but I did have to film myself according to their technical requirements. And this included getting some equipment like a green screen, as well as having a little bit of creativity. Now, I was told by the first company to rent a green screen studio to film myself, which I didn't have, but you'll see what I ended up doing in just a little bit. I was told to film in a minimum resolution of 4K and at least 30 frames per second. I was told to speak calmly with minimal expressions with 3 to 5 second pauses per statement. So, quote, the avatar will be able to learn how to behave during the pauses. Now, behave is the key word here. The recording essentially acts as a behavior model of what they should perform when you type in the script for them to say. And trust me, learning how to speak in little statements and pausing was not easy. And the downsides of creating your own avatar. This is so weird. So when I was recording this, it did feel a bit unnatural. But after I sent them the first recording, they actually said that I was too expressive at first and that the model would be too difficult and it might not be able to create and recreate that behavior. And I already thought that I was less expressive. It almost felt like I had to be a robot to become a robot. Ironically. They also noted that the green screen had to fill up the entire background. It couldn't just be part of it, which wasn't going to work because of the cheap green screen foldable screen that I had only took up part of the background. So I did what I do best and I hacked it. I used After Effects to key out the crappy green screen background and mask the sides out, and then I replaced it with a fake green screen background solid that filled up the whole background, so that way they could use this for the clone avatar. So I submitted the footage to the company and I had my fingers crossed that it would turn out okay for the video's sake, of course. But I had a premonition, an eerie feeling that it still wasn't gonna turn out great. So we got a notice that it was ready. I jumped up excited to try out the clone with my editor. And this is what we got. In today's video, I'll be cloning myself. Let's see if you can tell the differences. I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, it looked like a still image with just my lips moving. I mean, it was super disappointing, and I thought, gosh, did I do something wrong? I followed all the instructions. I did the green screen thing. I recorded in the correct lighting. I mean, was this serious? So I reached back out to them and I was being honest, and I was like, look, I wouldn't be able to use this clone. Like, should I re-record it and have my hands in the screen and like be more expressive? Because I wasn't sure that I could use my hands, and I'm a hand talker, and this was very important. So they said, okay, sure, let's try a new recording. So as I waited for the first company to produce a new and better clone with my hands, I thought I would reach out to another company too. So for the second company, they said that I could move my hands, and they said that I could have some natural head movement, but nothing too drastic. This is what they wrote. Also, refrain from making any excessive movements or dramatic head movements, such as vigorously shaking or nodding your head. I mean, I do move my hands a lot when I talk, but I think it's pretty funny that they needed to actually specify that I cannot vigorously shake in my videos. So I sent off my new footage to the new company and to the old company to see what they could produce with the new footage. And now all we have to do is wait. 3 to 5 business days specifically. Fingers crossed. Are you struggling to find the correct stock video or sound effects for your edit? Well, Envato Elements just introduced a new AI-powered search. Just simply tell it what you're looking for and it will find what you need. And that's not all. There's also a new Envato extension for Premiere Pro that also includes AI search. So you can move your playhead to a moment in your timeline that already has footage, and the Envato plugin will find similar looking footage for that. The same for music and sound effects it will find to fit your scene. And the best part is you can now connect your Envato Elements subscription directly into the panel. So you can download unlimited assets without a watermark directly in Premiere Pro. And you can use these assets in any type of project, whether it's a student film or a big budget commercial. And with an Envato Elements subscription, you don't pay per asset, it's unlimited. So download as much as you need. Thanks so much to Elements for sponsoring today's video, and now let's go check out these clone avatar results.
3 days later.
So I first went into the HeyGen dashboard and I typed in the script. And here I discovered that you can actually add timestamps to create pauses, or they recommend that you can add line breaks or manually inserting ellipses at appropriate places to indicate the pauses. So if you want to export this out and use it in, Premiere Pro, you can add a green background here, but you won't actually be able to see the lips moving until after we hit render. So I'm going to download the 1080p version because I shoot my videos in 1080p HD, not 4K, but you have the option to download 4K. Pulling this into Premiere Pro, I can remove the green screen and place a still of my normal backdrop behind my clone, and this is how it looks. Hey, don't forget to leave a like on this video. Hey, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. So the clone, can't give a thumbs up or do any gestures or anything like that. That's one of the limitations. It's only limited to the hand movements that you do in that recording, which was, pretty basic. I couldn't point or do anything like this, or it would confuse the behavior of the clone playback. So you can see it's a lot better, but the lip syncing is just a little off. And the hand movements are just kind of random because it's not associated with what I'm saying. But this technology is still in its infancy. Can you imagine what it would be like just a few years from now? So if you don't like the voice cloning, which for me, it still sounds a little bit robotic, what you can do in both HeyGen and elai, you can actually upload an audio recording that you record with your microphone, and the clone can say that audio recording. So there is a workaround to make it a little bit more believable without using that kind of robotic voice clone sound. And by the way, if you haven't yet, be sure to leave a comment below. So before I show you a side-by-side of the difference between elai and HeyGen's digital clone avatars, it's important to note the render time. For a 4 to 5 second video, it took elai about 15 minutes to render that video, and it took HeyGen only 5 minutes to do. So in terms of time, HeyGen had a faster render time, but that said, elai may change in the future. So comparing it to the first clone that elai produced, this new clone footage looked a lot better, but the lip sync is still not perfect. Here's a side-by-side of the two companies. And don't forget to subscribe for more fun editing tutorials, and become a patron to access more tutorials and project files.
And talking about color, if we look at the raw output, you can see that the colors of elai versus HeyGen are very different, even though they both learned from the same footage. We did have to do some more color correction, but it is not perfect because the angle of my avatar head is slightly different when I record naturally.
So I first want to say a huge thanks to these companies for producing my clone avatar for free that I could test and show you guys in this video. But one setback for a lot of people is the cost to produce these studio avatars. So let's talk about the money. Currently, HeyGen charges $72 per month for 30 credits as a subscription, and then 20 minutes max duration per video. Plus, if you want your own studio avatar, it's $1,000 per year. So that subscription only gives you the stock avatars, but if you want your own, it's $1,000 per year plus $99 for a custom voice. When you break it down month per month though, when you compare it to the elai charges, it's pretty similar. Elai has $100 per month for that subscription, $859 for the custom avatars, and $200 per year for a voice clone. Adding all of that up together, it's about $165 per month to have your own clone. Now this is for these current platforms. So unless you're making a lot of videos per month, that's a lot of money to justify. And right now, this is just the beginning of the technology. The price is just reflective of what the competitors on the market are producing for consumers to use. So this could lower in the future. But as of right now, I think the main purpose of these cloning type avatar services is for those customer service videos. But in terms of creators using clones right now, as we've seen from the pushback, it's just not the right move. You know, sometimes I ask myself, will I be making YouTube videos forever? I really genuinely enjoy researching new tips and new effects and sharing and creating new videos every week with you. But it is a lot of work, so the idea, I'm not gonna lie, of having a clone version of myself that replicates my personality and my voice to sit in every once in a while, it's just nice to think about from a work-life balance perspective. And we also can't forget how useful this could be for my editors. So maybe there is a place for this in the future. However, most of the time I spend on making my videos for this channel is spent on planning, researching, assigning projects, script writing, getting all the assets together, and once all of that is done, actually sitting down and recording it sometimes is the easiest part and the quickest part. And after all, if we're going to be using the clone, you have to remember that you have to do a lot of trial and error and render those videos, and that could actually take more time than just sitting down and recording it. And at the end of the day, people seek out advice and want to engage with real people. Generating an avatar is just a cheap way of keeping the algorithm happy. So we've already seen the pushback, and I'm going to watch this technology closely over the next couple of years just to see how people are going to use it, and especially see what regulations are going to be put into place. In the meantime, you may be seeing my clone here or there, or maybe even right now. I thought I locked the basement. So anyway, this video was really just a fun test just to see where the current technology was out. And of course, I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts about what you think about this technology as well. But for now, stay creative. And as always, keep creating better video with Gal. See you next time. Bye.